filming? Excellent. Perfect timing too, it's 11 o'clock. And this is class 1 of Introduction to Philosophy. That would be 1313-07. So today we're talking about philosophy, okay? What is the first question you should ask when you're going into anything, any class, any subject? Let's give you an example. Biology.
Am I
What-
in the right room?
Yeah, that'd be, yeah, that's good, yeah, that's, I was thinking subject, when you
Oh.
approach a subject. It helps, I remember first day I ever taught, walked into a room, started teaching philosophy, somebody raised a question, I said, hold on, no questions yet, and I kept going, and she's like, but really, I gotta ask a question. I said, what? She goes, yeah, this is a nursing class. And I was like, and got laughed out of the room, but it was fun. So I was in the wrong class, so that is a good, don't worry me. But subject matter wise, let's pretend we're in biology. What's the first question we should ask about biology? What does it mean? What is biology? Study of
Life.
So we should ask this question. What is,
Philosophy. What is philosophy?
no, what's life?
Oh.
In that class, we should ask what life is. Life is presupposed as though we know it in biology, which is weird because it's a very heavy philosophical question. Would you agree?
Mhm.
Absolutely. So we'll talk about what that is in here. But if you went into philosophy, if you went into a government class, you want to know what government is. I also teach government, political science. That's the first thing I asked today in my other class. What's government? What is it for? What is it, and then what is it for? What does it do? Then we ask, what is good government, right? How should we govern? Those are all philosophical questions, believe it or not. No matter what class you're in, there's a the class that was just here, psychology. What is psychology? Study of the
Study of the mind.
psyche, or what's that? Psycho is like you're
Yeah, like sex.
crazy.
Yeah.
But you have what's called psychopathy. Psychopathy is, people who actually have no ability to empathize with others and they hurt other people. Not always killing them, but psychopaths suffer from psychopathy and they can't empathize. It's a mental disorder. But we want to know but in psychology we're asked, what is the psyche? Well, what does that mean? It comes from, and we're going to learn that in here too. It comes from the Greek word psyche, which means soul, not mind. So a lot of people go, it's a study of the mind. No, it's a study of the soul. If it were a study of the mind, it'd be noology, okay? But they've changed it, and I think there's a reason for that, okay? That we translate it mind because I think it's less religious, and people are offended by religion, and because the soul is a very religious concept. What is the soul, or what is the mind? If you're going to go into psychology, shouldn't you know what the mind is? We're going to talk about that a lot in this class. Because I want to know who you are. That is what you are. Right? I'm a person. Well, great. What does that mean? What is a person? Right? We'll talk about that. These are all heavy, deep thoughts. These are all philosophical questions you start with in any subject. So in this class, you get to start asking questions, these very basic questions. So in our case, what class are we in? Nursing, right? No, we're in philosophy. So what's the first question you should ask, given I've given you several with biology, psychology, and law? What's the first question we should ask?
What is philosophy?
You already asked it, right? What is philosophy? Sir, what's your name?
Gabriel Aguirre.
Gabriel what?
Aguirre.
Aguirre. Gabriel Aguirre. Okay. Gabriel is correct. We should ask that question. So what is it? What is philosophy? It's a word, and I want to know what that word means. And that's, once we get there, then we can start, we're starting class, right? We're already knee deep in philosophy. You don't even know it. Sir, what is philosophy? You're taking the class, right?
You tell me.
No. I don't tell you. I ask you, and I'm going to help you learn. If this were a weightlifting class, I said, how much can you bench? You said, I don't know. You lift it.
Studying the mind.
Study of the mind?
Studying wisdom.
Wisdom, what did you say?
Study of wisdom.
Study and wisdom. Sir, you're not so far off, and you were gonna have me tell you when you could have told me that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just told me that, which, by the way, that's a great answer because it's a lot closer than most people get on their first shot, and you're about ready to give up on me. Don't do that. Add to it, sir. What's your name?
Muad.
Maud?
Muad.
Maud.
Yeah.
I'll look it up. I'll try to pronounce it correctly for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What's your name?
Zach.
Zach.
Gabriel.
Gabriel. Maad?
Muad.
Muad.
Yeah.
Zach. Muad, Zach, and Gabriel. Muad, Zach, Gabriel. Do, do, do. What's up? It's like drums. Go ahead, Zach.
Beliefs?
Yeah, you have beliefs, but is that, I mean, I don't want to be like, that stinks. Beliefs are very important to philosophy, okay? Are all beliefs true? Beliefs either exist or don't exist, right? Propositions are true or false, correct?
Yes,
I can make this up and you wouldn't even know. You're like, yeah, sure. But you're right. A proposition is a statement either true or false. By the way, that will be on a test somewhere along the line. Everything like that. Don't write it down yet. Trust me. It'll be there when it comes time. Beliefs. You say beliefs. Beliefs are important. He talked about wisdom. Okay? Let's just talk about the word philosophy. The word philosophy comes from two Greek words, phileo, sophia. Right? The first word, phileo, means love. Like Philadelphia, like the city of Philadelphia is known as the city of brotherly love. It's misnamed, I can tell you. People are not very loving. Okay? But Philadelphia, phileo, is a Greek word for love. And then we have the other Greek word, sophia, phileo, sophia. Sophia means wisdom. Ma'ud. Muad. Muad. Means wisdom. The love of wisdom. Now, that's great, right? Have you learned anything? Yes, you've learned that you've learned a few things already. You learned, always ask what the word means. If you're going to biology, you want to know what the word bios is. It's life. Then you go, well, then what is life? You already know how to ask that question, right? That's something you learned, I hope. Did you learn that? Good. Second thing is you ask the question, what's philosophy? And I just told you, it's the love of wisdom. Comes from two Greek words, phileo, sophia. So there are some beliefs there. Obviously, if you love wisdom, certainly there's a belief factor there, correct?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And I would say you learned something, but then I'd go, well, okay, what do you mean by wisdom? Okay? What? Zach, Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Not Gabriel. Gabriel.
Yes.
Gabriel. What's wisdom?
The working definition I have is.
You have a
the
working definition?
Yeah, the one that I hear just from life and experience is wisdom is the application of knowledge.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better.
Thank you.
No, don't thank me. Thank you.
Oh.
You must have watched a video of mine.
Oh, I don't
Did
think
you?
so.
You lied. You read my book. No, I'm just kidding. It's not just the application of knowledge, though, is it?
No, I would.
Is there anything else to it? But it is a great answer. You're doing really great today. You guys, you three have already impressed me. And I don't often say that. Usually it takes a little teeth pulling to get some of this out. It takes a lot of jogging of the mind to get you guys worked up. But you said you actually have to do something. You have to apply knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just having knowledge, is it?
No.
Okay, great. You have to apply it. So, guy Ted Kaczynski, do you know who that is?
Yep.
Name sounds
Oh, he
familiar.
certainly does. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay. Well, Ted Kaczynski's known as the
Unabomber.
Unabomber.
Oh.
So Ted Kaczynski knew explosives. He had knowledge. You knew how to make a bomb. How many of you know how to make a bomb? might have some ideas, but I mean, you're not an expert in bomb making, you know, right? He's really a smart, intellectually gifted guy. Psychologically, there was something wrong, perhaps. Morally, something wrong. What was he doing? He was making pipe bombs and he was mailing them to people and blowing them up. Okay? So he was a Unabomber. Was he wise? He certainly applied his knowledge.
I mean, have you read his book?
He had a book?
Have you, several actually.
Ted Kaczynski read several books. Wrote several books.
Yes.
I had no idea.
The Anti-Tech Revolution, and then his manifesto, which was the Industrial Revolution and its consequences.
Big fan of Ted Kaczynski's.
Yes.
I'm interested, but not. I am, but I'm interested. We gotta get back to the subject, but I am interested in what he has to say and why you would be interested in him. I might be interested in him as a subject of inquiry. I don't think it's like saying I'm interested in learning about Hitler and what made him tick, but I'm certainly not a fan of Hitler's.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a difference, okay? Because being a fan has to do with devotion to the cause.
Right.
Fanaticism, right? So if you're a fan, I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm committed to their team and the victory, right? You're like, eh. Well, we're in Houston, of course, right? Although you're wearing a Milwaukee Brewers hat. Are you from Milwaukee?
Yeah, I have a lot.
A lot of hats, but he doesn't have a Dallas hat. Of course not, we're backing up. No. All right. Well, all right, we're still getting back to what, philosophy is, love of wisdom, and we talked about Ted Kaczynski. Why I would say that Ted Kaczynski's not wise is something about not just the act, he certainly acted on knowledge, that there's something missing there. And we gotta go, well, what is missing? And I actually said the word, if you picked up on it. You might have picked it up, but if not, you will, don't worry about it. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, Rocio.
Rocio.
Yeah,
Excellent. You speak Spanish?
yeah, I am from Argentina actually.
Oh, that is super cool. Okay. All right, cool. Rocio
Yeah.
de la Argentina? Is that how to say it?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yes, yeah, perfect. I am learning Spanish, but I'm not that good. So, what's missing? What do we need for wisdom? Because if you are in a philosophy class, you want to know what you're learning, right? And if it's a love of wisdom, you certainly want to know what wisdom is. And if you say knowledge and application, I say, yeah, you need that stuff. What else do we need? But you also know that you could have knowledge and application and it not be wise. I mean, you see what I'm getting at?
Yes.
What else is missing? And I use Kaczynski for a reason that you should pick up on. Okay,
In what? Yeah,
how do you say it again? Rosina?
Rocio.
Rocio. Okay, go ahead. What are we missing?
The intention to apply that knowledge.
No, because he applied it, and if you apply something, you actually must intend to do it. That would be kind of weird if you applied, let's say I applied, went up and hit a ball with a baseball bat. I swung at it, it hit, and then I go, well, I didn't mean to hit it. My sons do that, they hit each other, I didn't mean to hit them. You had the hammer, I have to hide the hammers. My sons, these little plastic hammers whacking each other. Anyway. All right, so, no, not necessarily intent, although we are going to talk a lot about intention, free will. When I drop something on the ground, I can't blame, let's say, drop that paper on the ground, started yelling at the dog, why'd you fall? It's not their fault, it is my intent that it fell, but no. Rocio, no.
Yeah.
Don't worry, but you're going to get it, and I'll get your name much better. All right.
My name's Emily.
Emily.
Yes.
Okay, good. Emily, what are we missing, Emily?
Maybe what came to my mind is how do you know what's right and wrong?
Right and wrong. It's not just knowledge of how to make a bomb and the application of the bomb. It's knowing whether it's morally, that's right and wrong, not right and wrong, like you made the bomb correctly, right? That's the way you say right. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Wrong would say, you know, you got your wires mixed up, it's not gonna explode properly. That's not the kind of right and wrong we're talking about, is it, Emily?
Well, you said the word empathy earlier.
Yeah, well, empathy has to do with feelings, the sense of others' pain,
Mhm.
right? But Ted Kaczynski, I don't know, he may have been a psychopath,
Mhm.
one who couldn't feel others' pain. I don't know that. Maybe he could, but there was a moral component to what he did. Is it morally permissible to kill strangers?
I mean, that's one of the core instincts in a human is to not, like, hurt someone that's innocent. Or, like, one of the core.
Some of us have some pretty visceral responses. People want to hurt people. Have you been paying attention to politics lately?
Yeah.
People want to hurt each other really badly nowadays. I would say there's something, you said right or wrong. If we want to study wisdom, it seems to me that what we need to do is, if we want to love wisdom, right? If we want to be wise, as we want to have knowledge, we want to apply it towards its proper end, and by that I mean its moral purpose. Make sense? That there's a moral component to our endeavors as philosophers, lovers of wisdom. So wisdom is what? Knowledge rightly applied to its proper end, and that will be the working definition that I give, which is very similar to yours. Knowledge rightly, and by rightly, I don't mean correctly, I mean morally applied to its proper end. By proper end, what I mean is its design, its purpose. Now that presupposes, if there's a design, does that not presuppose a designer? We're at HBU.
Yep.
God exists whether I'm at HBU or not. But I'm going to teach you very explicitly that he does, because we're at HBU. If we're at U of H, I'm going to sneak it in there, okay? Just like if we were at U of H, they'd be explicitly teaching you communism and atheism, right?
Mm.
But we have different sets of values and beliefs, right? The two different schools. We're a Christian school. They are not. Okay. So I knock on U of H a lot. I'm sure there are a lot of Christians at U of H, but I'm sure I don't know many of them. I have a friend who taught there for a while, and he got fired as soon as they found him out.
Nice.
You seem surprised by that.
Yeah.
Why would you be surprised by that?
Why would they do that?
Because they don't like. The university system has been pretty much overrun by atheists, especially in the humanities departments, social science departments, philosophy departments. And what they do is, when their hiring practices are to exclude Christians or people of religious belief. So at most secular universities, that would be non-religious universities, even if they have a department, say, of Christianity, of religion, and they teach Christian classes, chances of that person actually believing in Christianity is generally pretty slim. And I know that sounds odd, right? Because like if you go to a biology lab and you got the head chair of the Department of Evolutionary Biology, he's like, yeah, chair of evolutionary biology, but I don't believe that crap. That would be odd, right? That somebody would teach something they don't believe. But that's not that uncommon in secular universities, state-run schools. When it comes to the religion department, not very congenial to religious belief. Okay. So anyway, now I didn't make this definition up, folks. This is a definition that's been developed over the ages, and Thomas Aquinas, a philosopher, brilliant philosopher, who is he learned Aristotelian philosophy. He developed. So we can take that all the way back to Aristotle, and Aristotle was Plato's student. So we take it all the way to Plato, and Plato had to learn, and he learned from Socrates, and Socrates, he himself had learned things. So you know, this idea that wisdom is knowledge rightly applied to its proper end, is definitely a good definition of wisdom. And if we're lovers of that, we want knowledge and we want to apply it to its moral end. Okay? But I want you to take note of what's going on here. I'm asking questions and then we're answering them, correct?
Yes.
So what is the next question I should ask? If I started with what's philosophy, and we said philosophy is a love of wisdom, and then we talked about what that love was. There are 4 loves. I didn't describe the other 4, but the 3, but that's okay. We then asked what is wisdom, and we worked on a definition of wisdom, and that definition of wisdom was knowledge rightly applied to its proper end. What do you think the next question I should ask is?
What is the proper end?
That is a great question, and that is part of it, yes. I'd start a little farther into it. What is knowledge? Right? So that I can apply it to its proper end. Because we're going to get to knowledge, and the ethics part, the morality part, is another part of philosophy. So in philosophy, there are 3 areas of study. One is called epistemology, E-P-I-S-T-E-M-ology, okay? Epistemology, now this is all going to be on the video. You can hear it as many times as you want to hear it, okay? And I got several other videos up for you already. So, and it's also on there, and there's a whole lecture on this. Probably better than this one. Epistemology is the study of knowledge. So we want to know what knowledge is. I teach whole classes on knowledge, what it is, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Then the second area of study is metaphysics. M-E-T-A, physics. And that talks about what exists, what it means to exist, and what types of things exist. We're going to deal with that. And then finally, ethics is the last one. And that asks the question, what does the word good mean? So going back to Muad's statement, you know, what's the proper end? That's what we discuss. Whole class is on the nature of good and evil, and that class is called ethics, moral theory. Okay? We're going to talk about all of that. Why are we going to talk about all of that? Because that's what philosophy does. Philosophy is going to ask the question, what does it mean to be wise? So if wisdom is knowledge rightly applied to its proper end, we first must ask the question, what does it mean to know anything? We're going to know about what? The world. What do we mean by the world? Everything that exists. What does it mean to exist, right? And finally, how do we apply this stuff to its proper end, morals? So what do we do? How do we do this? God thing, does God exist? If God doesn't exist, are there any morals at all? If there's no God, is there good and evil? And if there's no good and evil, what does it matter how you live? At all. And how dare you tell somebody else how to live? Or you can. It doesn't matter, right? But God does exist. So we don't need to worry about it. But we'll talk about the existence of God because that's a metaphysical question, is it not? Absolutely. So let's get back to knowledge. What is knowledge? All right, so Muad, Zachary, Gabriel. It's not Rosario, it's Rosario.
No, Rocio.
Rocio, Emily, and your name is?
Daisy.
Daisy. Rosia, Emily, Daisy. Daisy. What's knowledge?
Things you know? I don't know.
What's that?
Things you know?
Things you know. One of the things you don't want to do in defining something is to use the definindum in the definition. The definitum is the thing you're defining, right? So it's like, what's running? Well, it's like running. You don't want to do that because, well, that didn't do anything, you just repeated it, right? It's like me trying to speak another language, I just do it louder and they're like, I don't understand. And I say the same thing in English louder, right? That doesn't mean anything, does it? No. All right, so think a little, we're gonna think a little bit about it. You do know some stuff, right? Are you sure? You're not sure? Are you sure that you're not sure? Do you know that you're not sure?
Yeah.
Do you know that you're confused? So you're saying you have knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you mean by that word knowledge when you say, I know I'm confused? I know it's hard to articulate, isn't it? So these aren't easy questions. These are hard questions these are the things you asked your mom when you were 5 years old and she said, because I said so. And she just shut you down. And now we're like, you come here and they're like, no, let's ask these questions because these are hard questions, right? These are hard questions. That's why this class is important. A lot of you think, well, I got to get my major. What's your major?
Writing.
What was that again?
Writing.
Writing. What's yours?
Honest memory, kinesiology.
Kinesiology. What's yours?
I'm undecided at the moment.
Undecided is a great major. Go ahead.
Electrical engineering.
Electrical engineering.
Biblical studies.
That was excellent.
Biology.
Biology.
In art, majoring in art. Bachelor's in art.
You're getting in art. In art?
Art, yeah.
Okay, good.
Cinematic arts.
Very good. Maybe I should have you work on my thing. What's that?
Management.
Management. So you go, well, why do I need to take this class? Well, because I'm a degree plan, right? You think that. Not everybody is a manager of a company, right, sir? Not everybody does kinesiology. Not everybody does biblical studies. Not everybody does, what was yours again? Electrical engineering. But we are all philosophers. We all talk about how to live our lives, right? We all talk about what we know and how to apply it. And we all talk about how to do it correctly. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Anybody paying attention to politics right now?
Very little.
Very little. Well, it's important. It's very important right now. Two major political philosophies are at war with one another in our country. There are people who think we should get rid of the founding principles of our country and move on to more Marxist, socialist forms of government, okay? And that's political philosophy. It's asking how should we govern ourselves and what principles by which should we use. Very important stuff, right? And they're rejecting the notion that God exists and that we should reject these biblical principles, right? Very important stuff. We do this all the time and then we complain about it. My God, that's so wrong. That's a philosophical statement. You're making a claim that there is such thing as morality and that person failed to apply it correctly. How many of you watch House, what was it? Does anybody watch reality TV in here, ever? Daytime television? Good, it rots the brain. What kind of media do you watch? What do you watch?
Netflix.
Forget it, let's ask another question. Should we be wearing a mask in here? We're all wearing a mask. What if I just, forget it, I don't care. I'm giving you COVID and I've got it. I don't, but for video purposes. But what if I said that and you'd be like, dude, that's so wrong. You shouldn't do that. And you use that word should, right? Shouldn't. Tell me what I should or shouldn't do, right? Why? Because it is morally wrong to spread the disease, right? And I go, oh, really? You believe in good and evil? You believe it's really wrong? Or is that just your opinion? Right? I'm just saying, I'm just making that. Really? I mean, it's a very philosophical thing to do, to pass judgment on somebody because you're making a moral claim. And ethics is a part of philosophy. So an electrical engineer can tell me how to wire my car stereo, right? But there's no moral training in it. And I can guarantee you're gonna raise kids one day, right? Be married, and you're gonna ask the question when somebody tries to hit on you, should I go out with this guy? And you're gonna go, well, he's cute, right? And your husband's gonna be like, I'm standing right here. Should you go out with him? Well, wait a minute. Should marriage be monogamous? Well, I say yes. Christianity says yes. The Bible says yes. But what if what if you don't believe God? What if why would you believe that? Why'd you believe in those morals?
Because I choose.
Why do you choose it? Well, do you choose your math?
Like, I have been always, like, my parents were like, okay.
So it's just a good
It's like-
tradition.
Yeah.
It's like, when you play on a football team, you have your traditions, you slap the wall as you leave the locker room. That's tradition. Is that as deep as, what I'm saying is that it? Or is there
No.
more to it? I argue there's more to it, but
I choose to believe in God, for example, because of different kind of things that happen in my life, then I say, okay, if it's like, I don't know, something have to exist because.
I believe in God, and let me tell you this,
It's like-
but we should believe in God because it's true.
I
right?
think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. So, but I don't choose to believe 2 + 2 is 4, do I? I'm pretty compelled to believe it. To believe otherwise, that's a pretty overwhelming thing. Once you understand the concept of math, to say 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, what it would take to disbelieve that. Are you able to actually be truthful to yourself and believe otherwise, that it's 5? You wouldn't go to your math teacher and go, 2 + 2 is, when they say 2 + 2 is 4, you go, well, that's just what you believe. You wouldn't do that. We seem to have a little more respect for the field, Philosophy is a lot different. A lot of people think we're just here speculating and, opinionated, people navel gazing. But no, we're talking about knowledge, right? Knowledge, things we know. And so you're all, whether you're going to be a, not chemical engineer, electrical engineer, especially you as a biblical studies major, you're going to be telling people this is true. I know the statements in the Bible are true. That the proposition Jesus rose again, right? God exists, proposition, it's true or false statement. If God exists, it's true. If he doesn't exist, it's false, right? The Bible makes a lot of claims about sexuality. Homosexuality is immoral, biblically. And we live in a world. Hold on. We live in a world where people are telling us that the Bible, those words, are either A, misinterpreted, or false. You have to defend it, right? It's either true or false, right? Homosexuality is either immoral or it is not immoral. Okay? The biblical stance overwhelmingly says that homosexuality is immoral. Okay? Now, we got to make claims to that. We got to defend that, right? Whether you remember kinesiology,
He's kinesiology.
and
I'm
you're undecided.
Yeah.
And you up there, sir, remind me your name, film. Film, you're in film. No, even if you're a filmmaker, especially filmmakers, you're going to be doing philosophy too. You're going to be telling stories. And you're going to tell them from an angle. Okay, I've worked in the film industry, I've worked in the news, and I can tell you that everybody is biased. Nobody is not biased. If you watch the film industry, they're very biased towards a particular worldview. And they tell you what they believe to be true. They tell you what they believe to be moral. They would tell you she is not in that camp. Maybe, unless you're like a total, I'm going biblical studies, but I just don't believe it. But yeah. But you're at HBU, I'm going to make a certain other assumption.
Maybe you want to be one of those professors at U of H.
Yeah, that's possible, sure, but you're
No.
going to the wrong school for that one. Now, my point here is that everybody is a philosopher. Not everybody is an engineer. Not everybody is a filmmaker. Not everybody is into kinesiology, and not everybody is into we don't all write. In fact, most of us don't even read anymore, right? And when you write, what are you going to write about? You're You could write all sorts of things. You could write instructional manuals on how to hook up your, obsolete VCR, right? That's probably not what you're gonna write, okay? You write opinion pieces, you write the news. You are spewing philosophy, and it's either good philosophy or it is bad philosophy. You guys wanna be good philosophers? This is what everybody is. This is why this class is important. Everybody is a philosopher, but they're either good or bad at it. You want to be what? Good at it. You want to be wise. What is the opposite of wisdom?
Foolishness.
Folly. You don't want to be fools. Now everybody say, "Sup, fool?" That's all fun and well when you're saying hi to your friends. A philosopher calls you fool. That's probably the worst thing you could be called. Okay?
It depends on the philosopher.
Well, if they're a good philosopher, but you could be assured that if a philosopher is calling you it, they have low regard for you. That's what I'm telling you. Okay? And if you really are a fool, well, you're to be pitied. We don't want to be fools. That's why we're in this class. We're trying to breed what? Wise people. Right? We want wisdom coming out of us. And that was the whole idea of the university in the first place. The whole idea of the school system was never to create nurses, folks. Any nurses in here? Or filmmakers, or engineers. Those are trades. The whole idea of the university was to create a virtuous society by creating virtuous citizens. And what do they teach in there? They would teach theology, philosophy, stuff like that. The humanities. That's why I'm happy you're at this school and not another one. Because I get to have you guys, so we get wise together. All right. So we started that. Now we're talking to, I'm saying you're all philosophers. And I took aside, put aside the question of what is knowledge. Would you agree? We still have to get back to that. What's knowledge? See, because what was your major again?
Biology.
Biology is very important. And how do you use biology, in a wise way?
Your career.
I mean, you have knowledge. How do you apply that knowledge morally? Is there a bad way you can apply biology?
Yeah.
You say yeah. You say yeah. You're like, I don't know. Maybe.
Probably.
There's lots of ways. Go ahead, tell me.
Myself?
Sure, why not?
Let me think. You can be
A mad scientist?
Yeah, you can be a mad scientist and
An evil scientist?
and do something that just goes against ethics. But then
So
you can
how
also
so?
be. Depends on your beliefs. But for example,
Human experimentation?
yeah, human experimentation.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. But even then, just maybe you make biological weapons, which I guess is also
It's not hard.
Yeah.
Not hard at all. No, introduce plague into society.
Yeah.
Force everybody to wear masks.
Yes. You could lie and say there's a pandemic and that it's adequately, treated by wearing masks and that we're all sitting here suffocating ourselves. There is scientific evidence that suggests these do nothing.
Mm.
Coming from the CDC. You know what happens when you put science and politics together? You know what you get? Politics. But you sure don't get science. Okay?
Unless it's transhumanism.
We're talking about the,
Cyborgs.
oh yeah, that'd be fun. We'll talk about that when we get to philosophy of mind. How's that?
Nice.
So, we need to know what knowledge is. We're going to spend the class talking about knowledge. Then we're going to spend another third of the class talking about metaphysics. What does it mean to exist? And then we're going to talk about ethics. What does it mean to be good and evil? That's going to be the three major parts of this class. Now, we're also going to use a bunch of, how many of you have seen the syllabus? Couple. I put it up. Here's a very important note. I hope those watching this actually get to hear. But a very important note about the syllabus, we're all wearing masks today, and they're so gracious to allow us to be here. Tomorrow they may decide, guess what, we're putting all classes online. It could happen. A lot of other colleges started off, they got to class, and they went, this isn't working. And they all went online. We're all University of Phoenix now, okay? And so that means our syllabus is very likely to change. So a lot of us are like very set in stone. It's in writing. Okay, well, right now things that are in writing are, you could erase things just as easily as you could add them, okay? So keep that in mind. We're gonna try to keep our tests online so that, all right, makes sense? I've got a bunch of videos online, and if you don't see them on there, you let me know, because all the lectures are going to be on there, on Blackboard. And then there are going to be a bunch of other lectures on there. Some will be by me. Some will be videos, like one's called Crucible, and it talks about Western civilization, all right? Okay, so that's, look, just let me feed you as we go along. Trust me more than the syllabus. I'm following the syllabus, but I'm not going to be following it, I don't think there are dates on there because of the way the class is going to be this semester, okay? There will be an order of philosophers that we speak about, okay? They will not necessarily follow the order of subjects, such as epistemology, which studies knowledge, metaphysics, which studies the world and existence of three, ethics, that which studies morality. Because these are historical figures, historical philosophers who talked about all three. We're going to start with Plato, okay? We're going to read his dialogues, at least from his dialogue. We'll read a lot of the 5 dialogues of Plato. You're going to learn a little bit about Socrates. He was a perv, okay? A bad one. But yet he is very, very influential on, the world. Okay, very influential person. We'll learn about a student, Plato. Socrates was taught by Plato, and we'll learn about Plato's student, Aristotle. We're going to read from Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. Do you have that book? You probably do, and if you don't, you can get, he's not alive anymore, so you don't have to worry about him getting a check from you paying. You could get, PDF versions of the readings that I will have you read, okay? From the Nicomachean Ethics. I just wanted to make sure you have the correct translation, because like the scriptures, translations often change meaning or confuse things or clarify things. And when we're reading Ross's and Hackett's is there, and you're reading them both, you're like, that's a little different, and you feel like you're on a different page than I am. Okay, so we'll be reading him. Then we're going to be reading Augustine. Saint Augustine, some would call him. Okay, these are very important philosophers to us. Then from Augustine, we'll read a little Aquinas. Then from Aquinas, I think we're going to get into some Descartes, and maybe some Hume and Kant. We're going to read these guys. We'll read little excerpts of them. So then we get to Nietzsche. I'm not a big fan of Nietzsche, but we'll deal with Nietzsche. Okay. So those are historical. Oh, and Descartes. Did I say Descartes?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll deal with the philosophers as they go, but I want us to keep in mind the subject of philosophy. So, for example, how many of you taken math before? Did they teach you who Pythagoras was in math?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
They did. Who was he?
He was a mathematician, a Greek mathematician. He is known.
Pythagoreans actually believed, there's something divine about numbers, right?
Yeah, but he had a cult for himself.
Oh, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah. Do you know of any other mathematicians historically? Famous ones? Who discovered algebra?
Wasn't it a Middle Eastern philosopher?
It was. A philosopher, yes. Thanks for taking note of that, yeah.
I don't remember.
I don't
his name.
either. I was hoping you did. But the reality is, when we normally take classes, we don't take, like we took science, like biology, or engineering. You don't take the history of engineering. You don't go, I'm taking engineering, and you start with, the first engineer, and you start learning about, what's that thing, the screw. And this is a philosopher too. He created this screw that brought water up to the second floor. He's a great, inventor. I'll remember it as soon as class ends. As soon as I turn that off, I'm no longer looking cool, or like a fool, I should say. Point being, in philosophy is a subject too, where we learn to do it. You learn to do math. It's not just that you learn about what other mathematicians have done historically, correct? Philosophy is something you do. You even mentioned it. It's an activity. That's right. It's applying knowledge rightly. So we learn philosophy. We don't just learn about the guys. Philosophy's not dead with the philosophers like Aristotle, Socrates, and Plato, and Descartes. You too get to participate in doing philosophy just like you get to participate in doing math and engineering. Okay, it's not something some historical figure did, where you're either one of them or you're not. Okay, so that's why we're gonna do this. We're gonna learn to do philosophy, just as though you'd be learning to do math, because that's what we do in life. We're all philosophers. We're either good philosophers or bad philosophers. We're either famous philosophers or we're non-famous philosophers. You can be a great philosopher but not famous, right? Heck, I could be a great baseball player and never be discovered. Doesn't mean I can't play the game. I'm okay at it. I'm not saying I'm great. I'm not asking to be discovered. It would be awesome. But the point being is, just because you're not famous doesn't mean you're not a good philosopher. So just because they're not going to be reading your works, it doesn't mean that we don't do it. Yeah, we're going to deal with the historical guys because they will help us along, and we see what they did. And why do we see what they did? So that we too can do that. Like when I want to know about, bodybuilding, who should I consult? Those who did it before, of course. Right? The famous ones. What do the famous ones do? If you want to be successful, what do? You do what successful people do.
Yeah.
Or do you sit there and pout and say, I don't get anything? No, you do. You want to go to jail? You do what criminals do. You break the law. Okay, makes sense? And the same thing with, you want to be wise, you do what wise people do. You want to be a philosopher, you do what philosophers do. You want to be an engineer, you do what engineers do. They go to school and learn engineering, right? You want to be, what is your goal, Emily?
It's a good question.
Well, it's, Emily, my undergrad's a biblical studies major too.
Okay.
So I was there, I was like, all I know is I want to study the Bible. That's
Yeah.
all I knew.
What drew me to HBU was the apologetics program.
So, okay,
So
good, very
I
good.
would say that.
Good, and so that, you're kind of on the same track I was on. I started as a biblical studies major. I was highly interested in scripture, and I wanted to, I thought I might have been a pastor. I was a pastor for a while. And then, but I was into apologetics. I ended up going to Biola University to learn under William Lane Craig, not as an apologist, but as a philosopher. That's why you get me here today. And then I ended up going from philosophy to learning, going into church-state issues. And so I have a PhD in religion, politics, and society. So I shifted a bit, but it started with biblical studies. It's always my first love. And so keep that in mind. I was just wondering, what you're gonna do with that.
Yeah, I'm just kind of along the ride until I find something that interests me, like how you said that.
Well, you are interested. You're following what you're interested in.
But I guess more specified.
I wanted to do what William Lane Craig did. So what did I do? I found out where William Lane Craig taught, and I learned under him. Okay? William Lane Craig also teaches here every once in a while. He used to be my professor, now I get to say he's my colleague. He's a world famous apologist. He debates atheists. And that's what I wanted to do. I ended up going to church state stuff instead, but I still do that. And of course, I'm not, as great a scholar as William Lane Craig. He's world famous. Great philosopher. But I wanted to be successful, and so what did I do? I followed the people who were successful. I did what they did. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's,
Mhm.
so you gotta find out what you want, obviously, and that's gonna be part of our thing here. Yeah, that's Aristotle, by the way. If you aim at nothing, you're guaranteed to hit it. Okay? You wanna be a billionaire? Does anybody wanna be a billionaire here? Some people go, I don't wanna be a billionaire. Billionaires are jerks. No, not necessarily. You can be a great billionaire. You can be a billionaire and fund a bunch of great stuff. If you wanna be a billionaire, what do you do to become a billionaire? You do what billionaires do. Make sense?
Yep.
What do billionaires do? Aim for the stars, you might hit the moon. Might only make multi-millions. What are you gonna do again, sir?
Like a major?
Yeah.
A manager.
Manager. So you wanna make money. You don't wanna manage just for nothing. Like, oh, managing is so much fun, these time cards. Right? What kind of management do you wanna be in?
At first I was just looking to work for like a big firm.
Yeah.
Like I was just hoping to like get a stable job.
Get a stable job, yeah. Why do you want a job?
Make money.
That's exactly, yeah. And you know, a lot of people complain about the money they make, right? So if you wanna make a lot of money, what do? No, you do the things that make a lot of money. And how you find the people who make a lot of money, and you do what they do. Make sense? So you go, one of the best questions out there, this isn't right now about money, I'm just using it as an example. In a movie called The Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith sees a guy pull up in a Ferrari. And he didn't say, you big jerk, you know, stealing all our money or whatever, well, us poor, you rich people, you know, jerk. Kind of, he didn't say that. You know what he said? He said, what do you do and how do you do it? You want to know what the guy did to get what he had, and so he could emulate it and get the same results. Make sense?
Yeah.
So in philosophy, if we want to be wise, we want to use I'm going back to our list here. Use our examples of how to be wise. Okay? Jesus. Excellent, right? I want to be Christ-like. I would say he's wise. I want to be wise, I want to be Christ-like. Okay? You go to those who are wise. And go to the famous philosophers and see what they do. So that's what we're going to do. Now let's take some questions here from me. Because there probably should be some. And then I'm going to quiz you on what you learned, because I know you learned something. Remind me your name again?
Daisy.
Daisy. And you didn't tell me your name yet.
No.
What's your name?
Anjana.
Did you catch that there, Zachary?
Anjana?
Anjano?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have it written down. It is written down. What's your major?
Bachelor in arts.
Okay, yeah, you get a BA, Bachelor of Arts
Mhm.
in Art, or
No, I'm just getting a bachelor degree so that I can go to dental school.
do you know what you're going to major in?
Yeah, in dental?
Oh, dental.
Yes.
We have that here?
What?
You can major in dental stuff here?
No.
Are you a
I'm
freshman right now?
just trying to get the bachelor degree.
Right, but you got a major in something, right?
Yeah, in arts. Yeah.
Okay, because you get a Bachelor of Science too.
No.
No, you can. I mean, we have
Yeah,
BSs, you
you
get
can.
BA. So
Yeah.
you get a Bachelor of Science in Biology, a Bachelor of Science in
In-
Engineering, and you're going to be a Bachelor of Arts in Art.
Yes.
Okay, painting and art theory
Yes,
and all that.
I do, yeah.
Do you do art?
Yes, I do.
What do you do?
Just
Paint?
drawing.
Drawing and paint? Do you paint at all?
No, I didn't try painting, but I draw.
You certainly will as an artist right here. Maybe you'll have to take a class in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I paint a lot, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I love art. Oh, I love art. Especially since the pandemic, my whole garage turned into this big studio.
Nice.
Remind me your name.
Nate?
Nate?
Mm-hmm.
Nate? And you're a filmmaker?
Yeah, I'm majoring in.
What do you want to do with that?
I want to work on the sets and everything.
They're fun.
Huh?
It's fun. It's very competitive.
Yeah, of course.
So every movie can have several actors, right?
Mhm.
Lots of actors. I've been on sets where there were hundreds of extras,
Mhm.
dozens of actors with lines,
Mhm.
but one director. Which job is more competitive, the actor or the director?
It's a hard one.
Director, well, it just depends on who, if there's very few directors, but there's not very few directors. And there's a lot of actors. It's a very competitive field, so get used to hearing no. It's okay though. I worked in it for a long time. My buddy's working on the Matrix 4 right now in Germany. So yeah, so it's good though. For those of you watching on film, don't stop yet because we still have some stuff we're going to talk about. Go ahead. What's your name, sir?
Kevin,
Kevin. And your major is again?
management.
Management, yeah. You're pretty wide open on this. That's good. Okay. I want to encourage all of you. I think I've got all your names now. Don't remember them, but that's okay. I mean, I remember a lot of them. When it comes to majors, I want you to consider two things: a minor or a second major. Why do I say this? I say get a second major or a minor because when you graduate from here, and if you don't go on to master's level work or doctoral level work eventually, you know, and even if you do, this still holds true. You're gonna get into the workforce. Management is gonna be a good thing to put on your resume, right? Unless you're going for an electrical engineering job. You're not gonna get it, are you? The more training and more credentialed you are, the more marketable you are in the world. A writer, you can do freelance work, you can write for literally publication manuals like those instructional manuals. You can do that. That's actually a neat job. You can do newspapers, you can write novels, you could teach writing too, right? But it is a very competitive job and it is very hard to get published and make money. Most of the things you write will give you little to no money, okay?
That's why I'm not being a writer.
Right. So, but that's not, you said that, what's your major again?
Writing.
Right. So, you'll want another job, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is, get another, either not change your major, don't change your major. Get a double major. One that either helps the major you have, or gives you another plan B. Or if you don't want a major, because it is more classes, get a minor. Get a minor. You really want to be able to say, if the biblical studies thinks you're going to go for a job, right? And the churches aren't hiring, let's pretend, you know, we need a worship leader. Do you play music? No. You got a biblical studies degree, and they're not hiring for a senior pastor or any of this. They go, but let's pretend you got a finance degree. And you got a finance degree, a minor or something, and you can help them with their books. We need this person to help us. Very important. And we need a solid Christian who knows the Bible. There you go. Right? Plan B. Writer. Plan B. Okay? What's yours again? Kinesiology? Yeah. Plan B. What's your plan B? So I usually sell the majors I teach. Okay? Is philosophy a good major? Yeah, it's a great major. You can go into law school with it, be a better lawyer. Philosophy is the handmaiden of theology. It's excellent for the defense of the gospel. That's why I used it. Philosophy is good as I've worked in the news. Philosophy is good as you can become a political pundit. Philosophy is good for politics. I also teach government, so I'm in the government department. So I usually sell those degrees. Don't buy them from me just because I think they're cool, because they are, okay? And they are valuable. But what I'm trying to tell you is consider a second major or a minor so that you have a plan B, okay? Now, we're not out of here till, what, 11:15? Okay, so I've done several things already. I'm gonna test you on some of it. Okay, here's your test. What should we do upon entering any course subject?
Ask what it is.
Ask what the subject is. Tell me what the words mean. Right? We did that. all the way to knowledge, and we're gonna keep going. You know, where are we? We're in philosophy. What's philosophy? What is philosophy?
The study of the wisdom of
It's not the study of, it's just, philosophy just means the love of
wisdom.
wisdom, that's correct. What is wisdom?
Knowledge of life.
Applying knowledge.
Knowledge rightly applied to its proper end, right? That means it has knowledge, and there's some moral component to it, okay? I gave you 3 branches of philosophy. What were they?
Epistemology, metaphysics, and ethics.
Epistemology, metaphysics, and ethics. Thank you. What does epistemology study?
Study of knowledge.
Study of knowledge, okay? We're definitely going to dive deep into that. Talked about, what is metaphysics? What does metaphysics study?
What is
Study of existence.
Yeah, the theories of existence, what exists. Well, I say it studies of the world, and when I say the world, I mean everything that exists. And it'll ask, what does it mean to exist at all? Finally, what is the third part?
Ethics.
Ethics, right. What is
Study of morality.
study of morality, good and evil? Does good and evil exist? Excellent. And then we talked about, you know, different famous philosophers. We didn't really talk much about them, but I mentioned, you know, Aristotle, Plato, Socrates. I said, you know, they kind of come in a lineage. Socrates taught Plato, Plato taught Aristotle. And then I gave you a bunch of other philosophers we'll learn about. All right. Did you learn anything today?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit? Semi-interesting so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You learn that if you think about something, it just, you know, comes out, right? Yeah, it'll get there. It's like lifting weights. Okay, you will be at the end of the semester smarter than you are now. You understand me? Okay, so on Thursday, you're in my Monday or Tuesday class. Thursday, other people will be here. If you showed up on Thursday, I probably won't care. Okay? Just, I might have to, if it's packed, I might have to, because of social distancing. Okay? But as it stands, if you showed up, I wouldn't be offended. Some of these classes only have like 3 people in them. Okay? This is actually not bad. I like it. Okay? Are there any questions for me about books? Yes, go ahead, Emily.
Oh.
No, about anything.
I have a question about how Friday classes will work. Are we just gonna be watching a lecture online?
We don't have Friday classes. We're a Tuesday, Thursday class.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry.
But if you want to know that answer, the answer is any professor who has a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class. If you have a Friday class, you don't go to it, and they will have some sort of assignment for you.
Sorry, I forgot. what
Don't
class
be
we were in.
sorry. I was embarrassed the other day because I thought my classes were Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and asked that question.
Oh.
And my boss is like, and he's like, I'll tell you later. And he comes up to me and he says, I didn't want you to be embarrassed, but you should have gotten the email on that, and I didn't want you to expose it. You didn't read your emails, Holzer. And I was like, yeah. And then I felt even twice as dumb because it turns out my classes weren't even on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They're on Tuesday, Thursdays. I'm like, ah. So you're all right. Don't beat yourself up for it, because I certainly beat myself up enough for it. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you know how many people are coming on Thursday?
No. Like I said, it could be a mixed bag. It could be 3, 1, or I'd be kicking people out. But my last class had 6, you know, right before this, and the same roster number. Like, it's like 28 people in the class. There's 30 in this class. So, if you guys are really scared, you don't have to come. Technically, you don't have to come if you don't care. But, I mean, I prefer you here. I like you here. I like talking to you guys. I like knowing you. So that's so much better. And you'll learn so much more. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to be here, but like I said, if you showed up, the probability of me kicking you out is pretty low. Unless it's packed. Okay. Any other questions? Emily?
The syllabus says there's a quiz every other week. Is that
Yeah.
gonna be on a certain day, or just?
Yeah, you know, I'm going to put those online so you don't have to worry about coming in for that. That way, you know, I'll create the quiz, you take it, you'll instantly get your grade. Okay? We'll try to keep it simple like that. That way yeah.
We have to start reading some books or something like that.
Do you have to start reading some books? Well, what you have to do right now is I have to get that video up. Then I'm going to put some stuff on Blackboard. That's what I really want you to do. focus on, you know, and I'll put up announcements telling you what to do. And I will guide you. Your first reading will come from that book, I can guarantee that, yes. Okay? But you'll also watch a couple videos, and I'll try to make them short and sweet, some are not. Okay?
So we have to get every book?
Let's start with, there are 3 books I want you to get right now, or at least have access to the writings of. The 5 Dialogues by Plato, Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, and the third one will be Augustine's City of God.
Okay.
Not Confessions?
Oh, did I say City of God?
Yes.
I apologize, that's like that thick. Confessions like that thick.
Okay.
Which one do you prefer?
Yeah.
Especially for this. So, and even that one, I might just have us do selected readings, and if that's the case, just get the Aristotle and Plato first, and then if you got it, keep it. It's a keeper. It's a classic. You need it on your shelf. Everybody needs to have that book on their shelf. It's a great book. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yes. So, but we're gonna, some of these books we're gonna read parts of, and not the whole book. Okay. Good. Anybody? Okay. What else? You got a question? Nobody got a question? You got
A question for you. Do you have a favorite part of, do you have a favorite reading of that's on this list?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
I like talking to people about philosophy, and I love reading, but Aristotle is, I like the Aquinas because we're going to deal with the existence of God questions.
Okay.
I like the Descartes because we're going to talk about knowledge, but I like Aristotle mostly because of the practicality of the telos, the design for things.
Okay.
That we've already used it. I've already assumed Aristotle by saying knowledge rightly applied to its proper end. That word "end" is very Aristotelian.
Okay.
Has to do with design. And God designed you for something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Designed the eye to see, right? Designed us for communion with Him. So I'm a big believer in that. So I like parts of yeah. And some of these people, I'm just gonna go, that guy's wrong. Nietzsche. All right. Muad.
Will we be studying any contemporary
Philosophers, yeah, because I'm a contemporary philosopher. So when I talk about epistemology, metaphysics, and ethics, we're going to be we'll be using names such as Alvin Plantinga, J.P. Moreland, William Lane Craig, Shannon Holzer. That'd be me joking. We'll be talking about those guys too. So yeah, absolutely, because philosophy's not just something that was in the past. They're great philosophers right now. Okay, so yes.
Will the books are the books on the syllabus, or should I write them down?
The books are on syllabus, and like I said, let's the ones you really need are the first 3. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and I'm not saying you don't need the other ones, but I am saying if it turned out that you couldn't get them all, these are all people you can get online.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's royalty free, because I'm not going to have you read some of these books as a whole. I'll have you read parts. Kant's Critique of Pure Reason is like that thick, and nobody wants to read that. Not even Kant scholars. Kant reads it. He's like, who wrote this? I'm joking. There's a lot of people like him. I'm not gonna have you buy and read that. Okay. All right. If we're all done, good. We're all good.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Good. I will see you when.
Tuesday.
At least on Tuesday, if not sooner. But feel free to email me. And look at the announcements on Blackboard.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. You guys have a great day. Thank you all.